In one word, how would you describe your comedy?
Manic.
Silly.
Feminist, but kind of naughty and fun.
Musical.
Manic.
Shocking.
Eclectic.
Art.
Indecisive.
Concise.
Evolving.
Feel good.
Weird.
Fun. Surreal.
Hilarious.
Serious. Pissed off.
Self-deprecating.
Brilliant.
Pubescent.
Inane.
Surprising. Stoner observation.
Oh, it's different.
Wordplay.
Incompetent.
Personal.
Energetic.
Conversational. Cheeky.
Chaos.
Underdog.
Nerdy.
Tentative.
In one word, how would you describe your comedy?
Chaos.
That's the fastest reaction so far. Ironically, it's chaos.
I think if you see me, you know, it's kind of chaos. It's, I guess, controlled chaos, but I had to pick one word, and controlled is not the correct word, so chaos.
I don't know, one word's difficult because I try not to, I just do me and I'm quite a random person, so I'd say, yeah, random then.
I don't really embellish or elaborate on things and make up stuff unless I'm doing a character act. So yeah, if it's my just normal stand-up with some comedy poetry, it's all based on real events. So yeah, I'd say personal.
I guess there is no way of describing, like I'm too new to know what I'm doing right now. It's just, I'm trying to figure it out myself. So it's just, I'm a guy who's trying to become a comedian. There is just no word for, like, aspiring stand-up comedian doesn't sound as good as, I'm a stand-up comedian, but like nobody's paying me to do it. I'm still trying to, I'm constantly auditioning for eventually getting a job. But.
And I want to try everything. Like, I don't know if I want to tell jokes or if I want to tell stories or if I want to go up there and be like Carlin and just make really good points that are like somewhat like, that's kind of funny. So I don't know, I really don't know what it is yet. What I would like it to be, the one word I'd like to be able to describe it would be honest. Like that's my ultimate goal, is to just go up there and be purely honest in the moment all the time, because I think that's what's funniest.
Yeah, definitely weapon of the underdog. Yeah, I think ever since I was a kid, it's because there's different. There's people who want to be funny and people who need to be funny. I think I fall into the latter category. I think it started in childhood, where I used to get beat up and picked on, and and this one kid beat me up every day. And then this one day I said, he's not gonna stop. So what's my motivation to not make fun of him? So I just started making fun of him. And when I did, he was crushed. And then he just said, if you stop making fun of me, I'll stop beating you up. And it rewired my brain.
Silly. At the moment it's silly. I have ambitions of being slightly more proper, but at the moment it's silly and I like it like that. That's not one word. Well, it is one word, and then elaboration, which kind of defeats the point of the question. Silly.
I'd like to say different, but I suppose different is, a lot of people probably describe it as different, therefore making it kind of all similar really. So no, the difference is probably a bad word, but I don't know, I think I'll just go with weird, I suppose, is what I'm after, but again, I don't know, describing something as weird is in itself becoming a bit of a cliche, so I don't know, yeah, weird, go with that.
I'd like to start off this evening with a routine I like to call ways that heterosexual men start conversations with me. Hi. Can I buy you a drink? Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were a woman. Oi, Puff! You're wearing a dress, which is a nice thing to point out. Because sometimes I'm just not aware, you know? I'll get up, get ready for work, and leave the house. There's something bugging me, I can't quite work out what it is. But then just some guy yells across the street, oi mate, you're wearing a dress. And I'm like, am I? Oh shit. Oh God, I'm always doing that. Well, thank you so much for pointing it out, mate. Could have really embarrassed myself then. So hang on, are you a man? So you're definitely a man, right? Would I be correct in assuming that whilst dressed in clothes typically associated with the female gender, you are actually both biologically and psychologically of the male persuasion? You've got longer hair than my girlfriend. You wear more makeup than my girlfriend. You've got a longer penis than my girlfriend. I'm not gay, but... Wow, you're ugly for a woman. Which implies I'm quite beautiful as a man, really, doesn't it? So, wow, you're quite ugly for a woman. It's almost a backhanded insult, really, isn't it? I genuinely had this one guy once say to me, he said, wow, mate, if you were a woman, I would not fuck you. And all I could think of saying was, well, good thing I'm not a woman then, so my place.
So the style of comedy that you do now,
How would you compare that to when you very first started? Like, has it gone through any significant change?
Yeah, it has. There was a kind of epiphany once. I wrote a lot of stuff and I was like, no, I can't do that. I can't do that, it's too much. And then I had a bad gig, and then after that, I had a gig like the next day and I just got drunk. And I'm like, right, that thing that I said I wasn't going to say, I'll say that. I'll do that. I did 5 minutes of just all the stuff that I'd not had the balls to do before, and it was brilliant. I really enjoyed it, and I've stuck with that stuff since then.
I think the stuff I do now is a lot more engaged with, I suppose, sort of wider issues. It's not just a sort of, an unmoored kind of flight of fancy. Like, it's a lot more, here is the thing that I'm going to talk about, and I will then push that to its illogical conclusion. Whereas once upon a time it was a little bit more sort of, illogical conclusion, let's be clever for the sake of it. And now it's, hopefully it's cleverness deployed in the direction of a particular purpose.
Maybe a bit less crude, if anything. More crude when I first started. I think you see that with a lot of comedians, a lot of new comedians are very crude, they don't realise. And I don't mean they're nothing by it, I don't think. But I notice that when I'm not with my mates in the pub, do you know what I mean? Because I'm actually quite a polite person, so you wouldn't just go up to a stranger and go, I had a rash on my dick last night. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so I never started out to be in comedy. I started out doing spoken word and poetry. And then I thought actually I probably enjoy alternative comedy. And then going to poetry nights.
It's gone on a change, whereas I'm more comfortable when I'm performing it. So, like before, like it was like really rigid, and I'd have no like crowd participation or anything like that. But now it's like I sort of like throw in a question or say, "Oh, do you like this?" Or I do have a little bit of interaction now, but I feel a lot more comfortable.
Yeah, when I first started, it was just anecdotal. It was just talking about funny things that have happened to me in a funny way, and I just got sick of talking about it because I was exaggerating so much. I thought, why don't I just make stuff up? I mean, I'm just embellishing these stories. They're becoming so silly and preposterous. I'll just write funny stories and act like a very weird character who's had a very strange life. That happened probably about my 5th gig when I came to that realization.
Lab coat, clipboard, the goggles and stuff. So it looks a lot more slick rather than just a man standing there in a jeans and t-shirt doing a couple of one-liners that might have a relation to one another or not. And it's a lot easier to order your material that way, and it's, I suppose, doing it as a character like that, and this character who's a scientist, having a logical order to it just sort of naturally follows on.
Nate, especially in the recent years, trying to get a lot more like actual jokes and laughs into my act as opposed to just doing trick, which is what I used to do.
It's just I'm becoming more of myself, right? Like I feel like here's my taste and here's my ability, right? Ira Glass said this on public. This is what's tough for all creative people. Your taste is up here, your ability is here. The only thing everybody sees is this, but what you feel is this. So you have to work to close that gap, and that's the frustrating part. So I feel like I've closed the gap a bit, but I know there's going to be times where this isn't going to move so quickly. It's almost like losing weight. Sometimes you lose weight real quick, and then you have these weeks where you just have to keep working out.
Quite a lot. When I started, I had no idea what I was going to say on stage, and I was just listening to other comedians and trying to make jokes along the same lines that my favorite comedians were doing. And so it wasn't really original per se, it was like inspired by. Whereas, getting into comedy, I've been in it for about 3 or 4 years now, and the writing just takes over. And I think I've evolved to the point now where all of my stuff is completely original, and it's all to do with not necessarily my life, but my perspective on life, even if it's exaggerated.
When I first started, I got on stage without any point. Didn't know what the fuck I was talking about, didn't know who I was. Just, let's go up on stage because I know I want to do this. But now, I want to introduce myself and battle my demons on stage to an audience to make them enjoy my downfall. So that's good.
The first time I ever did a set, it was really tight, and it was written and it was all planned ahead and everything like that. And then I went down the route of doing one-liners, and then I went down the route of doing completely improv, and now I do a little bit of everything. Hence the indecisiveness. So probably more professional when I started, but not as good.
I realized out of audience reaction, I could clearly see the different stages of how people could perceive their material, and I realized I am not ready. Like, maybe those are not the best jokes ever written, I'm willing to accept that, but I still like some of them, and they used to get some decent reactions at some gigs. And then I started realizing this is me, like I'm not ready to do this the way I want it to be perceived. It gets perceived like more in a creepy rather than funny way. So it means that I have no way of actually building up my stage persona in a 5-7 minute set in a way that the audience is going to figure out.
Maybe if you start off doing kind of pun based stuff and all the rest of it, then your puns become a little bit cleverer or whatever, but they essentially still stay grounded in puns. But I think for most people what happens is you start off telling gags, and then it matures a little bit to telling gags with a purpose maybe.
I've learned over the years how to predict what audiences think is funny, what is the line for most audiences. So yeah, like some audiences don't like too many disabled jokes. Don't like too many jokes about disabled people. Other audiences do.
But I've got to a point now where I want to take what I've been doing for the past year and a half, and then do something completely different with it. So I've been heavily inspired by sort of absurdist, surrealist comedians, and also clowning as well. So I love doing character acts, so I think I'm going to just take aspects of all of those and merge it into one. So I'm going through a process of change at this moment in time.
I don't think it has, like, really. I think you're more... The main thing that happens when you've been performing longer is that you've had more gigs that have gone well, so your just background level of confidence is better. So you know that even if you're a bit anxious or whatever, you've got that backlog of history that's, you know, that's significant to the way you perform. And I think that comes across most of the time, that you don't care as much, you're not as nervous on stage, and therefore your odds of having a decent gig are better.
I think I did one gig and I went on stage and I thought I can't be offensive because it was actually genuine. I was in the middle of about to start an offensive bit, and then somebody came in on a wheelchair and I was about to do a disabled joke, and I thought I can't do that joke, and then a woman and her 3 kids came in and I thought, well, there goes the paedophile jokes, and it was almost like just kind of like a conveyor belt of my set leaving the room. So I ended up bantering with the audience instead and keeping it clean that way.
Well, the thing that got me really started was a circus called Archaeos, which was this French, incredibly anarchic circus where sort of, you know, they wouldn't work now because the whole health and safety thing would just say no, it's too dangerous. They had cars that they'd put double walls on, so like they were full of water, and they had people doing trapeze on kind of cranes and things, and it was really, I mean, there were accidents and people got hospitalised and all sorts, and that's what inspired me. And when I started, I wanted to do something like that, and then I think I've gone through doing quite conventional. It's never been conventional. It's always been, you know, sort of prop based and trying to be a bit different. But what I'm doing here at Edinburgh is going back to that. Is trying to be as anarchic as I can. So it's kind of, yeah, it's made a change and then come back to where I started.
It's kind of like, it's actually kind of circled around a little bit more. When I first started doing comedy, it was all just jokes about like unicorns and clouds and like how bright colours are really fun. And then I got like a little bit more serious and tried to like be offensive for a period of time. And then I was trying to kind of be Louis C.K. even though I was like 19 and didn't know what was going on. And his entire shtick is having lived. And I've just kind of circled round and gone back to what I I've always thought is funny and what I've always felt really comfortable doing, which is being silly.
I think when I first started I was a bit more dirty and I'd make some jokes just to kind of shock people a bit. I think my jokes have better structure now and some of them are more about making a point.
I think I've got better at it. I've always liked the idea of just, again, going to feel good. I kind of like the idea of just making people laugh. I know that sounds kind of cliche, but that's pretty much the kind of style I want. And I've always found feel-good comics have always made me laugh. And I suppose that's the kind of style which I grew up with, that I adopted. So all those kind of characters from, there was a TV program in the 70s called Comedians, and there was loads of comedians on that who just came and did quick-fire jokes. So people like Frank Carson, people like Ken Goodwin.
How everybody starts in a way is that you're just trying to do it. And but weirdly, at the same time that I did that, I also started writing a blog about political stuff and dishing out my political opinions. And it didn't really occur to me that the two had an overlap. And then until about sort of 2 or 3 years later, when I was writing my third solo show, and I sort of started putting little bits and bobs off of my blog into my set and vice versa. And and then my third solo show was just wholly political. And now I would say everything I do on stage is just political comedy.
Originally I was a bit worried that I was just going to be a musical comedian, but I've sort of embraced it and embraced it as something that makes me a little bit unique in terms of all the other acts that are out there. So in the sense of that, that's like my style's changed dramatically, purely because it's there wasn't music to begin with, and now there is.
It was closer to Monty Python and Robert Williams and those sort of, that sort of kind of broad, crazy characters, more, that kind of humor. I was more a cartoon. And then as you age a little bit, I always had these things I wanted to say, but I didn't really know how to say them. I didn't have the tools in the toolbox to figure out how to get the messages across. And then as kind of time went by, I realized that what I wanted to say was more important than how I was saying it. So I decided that, I kind of shifted gears about 5 or 6 years ago. So it would have been about 10 years in. And I mean, I had the messages, but I didn't have them as well. Like they were much more wrapped up with, they were much more decorated to much more sugar than medicine. And then I kind of shifted gears. So I have the same manic energy I used to have. I've actually slowed down a little bit weirdly. But I'm definitely more message heavy than I used to be, yeah.
I think I had quite an old-fashioned idea of it. I think I had a very old-fashioned, it has to be very set-up punch, and it has to be making fun of people and doing the da-da-da-da, and I have to be making fun of myself, and I have to look at everything that's wrong with me and then tell people about it. Which worked for a little while, but I think... And I went through a phase with the ukulele for a little while, so I did quite a lot of songs. But now, it's just... I think you sort of have to do what comes naturally to you rather than trying to... I think that's what I figured out. Doing what comes naturally to you, just writing every day and seeing what comes out, and it will just keep changing and it will just keep evolving, and that's the really important thing, I think.
I mean, when Gareth and I started performing together, we used to script everything and rehearse meticulously, try and get every line sort of perfect, and then it was kind of over time that we discovered being a lot looser with it. It was more fun for us and for the audience.
I had a background in being on television and sort of being a comedic performer before I started doing stand-up. So I've been doing this poker gig for the last 5 years or whatever. So I got to be funny on television, and people will be like, "Oh, you're a comedian. Do you do stand-up?" And I have to be like, "No," which is kind of like, "Oh, you're a chef. Do you cut vegetables?"
I try to make what I do on stage more who I am off stage. But I also noticed doing this for as long as I have, that I've changed off stage. It's almost as if we sort of weirdly starting to meet in the middle. So it's like, I am more me on stage, but I'm also me on stage, off stage.
4 years sober yesterday, you know what I mean? You don't need to clap, that's not what I'm saying. I got one little half-assed woo, and that's fine. But, it's not a big thing, man, it's not a big thing, it's easy. It's easy to get over that kind of shit, right? That's why everybody's sober, you know what I mean? But, no, for real, I used to be like a big pill popper, man. I used to be big into the pills. Mainly like the penis enhancement pills. It's kind of like M&Ms. I used to eat those motherfuckers. You know? Like still to this day, when I look down at this giant penis that I had, it just reminds me of those dark days. And like the things I put my family through. You know what I mean? I have children, right? I go try to pick my son up from school and I have to carry this thing around in a pram. You know what I mean? Like I hurt my back. It hurt my back. It's big. You know. And all his friends start teasing him like I'm wheeling this thing up there, you know what I mean? And all his friends are like, oh, here comes your dad. Ooh, and your little brother Dick. Old Big Dick Daddy. And then my son's like, get out of here, Dad. And I kind of wheeled away in shame. Hurts. Hurts, man. Like if people think like when you're a junkie, like you don't have feelings. Like they can just talk to you however they want to talk to you. Like you're not a person, you know what I mean? I get out of my corner shop, and I know this dude, I spend a lot of money now, I know this dude, you know? And he's always like, oh, here he comes, Mr. Big Dick. Come to knock everything off the shelves with his giant dick. You're disgusting with that big thing. Get out of my shop. Maybe I can tie a broom to it and you can sweep my parking lot on the way out, you big giant dick having motherfucker, you. Mean. Dude's mean, man. For real.